Good morning, YouTubers. T-Square here with T-Square Talk. Hope everybody's having a great day. I know that I am. It is definitely exciting right now with what's going on. And for those of you that don't know what is exciting, hasn't checked out the gold price recently. So it took 3.5 years for gold to go from $2,000 to $2,100. It took just 2 weeks for gold to go from $3,000 to $3,100. And in one day, we just went up another $40. And so it's definitely exciting what's going on with gold, what's going on with silver. We're going to talk about that. I know someone's like, there ain't nothing going on with silver. It feels like it's flatlined. It's just going sideways. A lot of people confused right now. A lot of people saying gold's going up, silver's going down. What's going on? We're going to talk about that a little bit today. It is exciting, though. I want people to know there's a lot of excitement surrounding it and a lot of momentum. And whether or not you're in gold, whether or not you're in silver, both metals, in my personal opinion, are going to continue to climb. Essentially, the economy's in trouble. The world is in trouble. There's a lot of stuff going on. I don't really promote the fear-mongering videos, the war, the this, the that, but I do like to talk about economics and what's going on. And as more and more uncertainty goes around the world, more and more countries want to look into gold. More and more people want to get into gold, and you're seeing it start to dominate the headlines with a lot of different stories about gold. From every angle almost. Everything from Fort Knox being empty because we're a bunch of conspiracy theorists that believe they don't have the gold, to war breaking out in countries, to countries opening up long-lost gold mines that they just hadn't had open in forever. Now they're starting to pop them open. All that takes time. There's a lot of excitement right now forming up around gold and silver. We're going to talk about that in today's video. If you enjoy the video, please take a quick minute, hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help the channel out. Leave me a comment, and a special thank you to all of our members of the channel that help support the channel. If you'd like to become a member, it is only $1.99. Every month we do a special members-only event. Plus, your comments go straight to my phone, even though I will be honest, I have been so busy lately. It's been really hard even to keep up with the members' comments, but I am trying my best to keep up with them. I usually have to do it at night because my days have been so busy with emails, with questions, with comments, with a little of everything, and then my personal life, and I'm still working on trying to find a way to finish off remodeling my kitchen. So let's get started into today's video. So I kind of already, in just the intro, I've already told you a lot about gold. Look at the movement. Look at the momentum that we're seeing on gold in just one day. This is a one-day chart right here on gold. As we've seen it go from essentially, I hate to say 31.20 to 31.40 because I don't really think that does it justice, but I kind of have to because that's what it was at 2000. Unless, is this? Oh no, my bad. It's not broken out to the full day. That's the full day. I guess I kind of zoomed out. As we ended up going really at the lowest point in the day, you can see here they tried beating gold down. And the lowest they could get it down to after yesterday was 31.03. And look at this drop right here, this momentum. And even after they let up off the gas a little bit, off the push down, literally it started buying back up. And then they try to push it down again, and then it instantly popped up. And I think right about here, they said, oh, shoot. And then it popped up again. And literally, it's just continuing to rise. So you can pretty much say, you see all this volume right here? Around 9, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, all those people that sold pretty much lost money because gold is even higher now. There's not really much slowing it down. I was actually talking to a friend of mine. He says, you know, when something goes up this fast, it's due for a pullback, but you have to take into consideration that there is a huge amount of money flowing into gold. Even people that didn't know nothing about it are now talking about it. I've been having a lot of people call me up out of the blue and say, have you seen the price of gold? I mean, come on. Of course I've seen the price of gold. I'm checking gold and silver on almost on an hourly basis, and I think that's being a little too modest. It's probably more than that. I mean, I pretty much got it glued to the screen because there's so much excitement around it. I know there's a lot of people out there that maybe have this feeling that the price could tank. And I think a lot of people are not taking into consideration the masses waking up and the sheer amount of money that is getting nervous, the big wealthy players that's getting nervous, and they're buying into gold. Now, one thing we're not seeing any big movement on silver. I'll be honest. Take a look at silver, what silver did today. I mean, silver was at $34.35 at midnight last night, only to continue creeping down, and it creeped all the way down to $33.50. Honestly, maybe their intention was to try to beat that down a little so they could give the silver squeeze players a better buying opportunity. How many of y'all went out today, picked up a little bit of silver at your coin shop, maybe online? A lot of people did. And I actually called up one friend at a coin shop, and she said they were swamped. She said they were nonstop busy. She said she did get one of my packages out that she had on hand. I was super excited about that. It was a deal that I had been working on for a little while and had to sub out a couple items for a few things that was missing, but I was still super happy with that. And I just found it interesting how many people showed up at the coin shop today. It was amazing that they had such a big turnout, but we kind of expected that with the silver squeeze movement. Did it push the price up drastically? No, but I will say I think it sent a little bit of a message, since you can see pretty much at 8:30 they started pushing the price down, and then all of a sudden it instantly kind of started popping right back up, and we pretty much ended the day at ballpark pretty close to where we were. A lot of people want to now buy gold and not so much silver. And I can understand that, because obviously even a part of me says, I wonder where I would be if I put all of my money that I had on gold instead of silver and only bought gold coins. Here's the thing. When people aren't focusing on one metal, you're going to usually get a better premium on that metal. And so I'm happy the way I played it out. I know right now there's a lot more excitement around gold, but I really believe that the excitement will soon be coming in silver, as we're sitting now at a over 90 to 91 to 1 gold to silver ratio. Now, I think eventually this is going to turn around. A lot of people are going to feel like maybe they missed the boat. That person that he thinks that gold could pull back, when I talked to him, I said, what are you thinking? He goes, I'm not saying, it's going to have some drastic pullback. He goes, but don't be surprised to see it pull back $200. I mean, let's be honest. If gold pulls back $200, what does that put us at? Puts us at roughly $29.40. Not horrible, really. I mean, and if it can go up this much in a day, it could come down that much in a day. But I wouldn't be surprised to see $3,200 by the end of the week. And we'll have gone from 3.5 years from 20 to 21, 2 weeks from 30 to 31, and essentially a week from 31 to 32. And then I think who knows what could happen after that. I mean, we could see $80, $90 days each day until gold really bumps up to a nice amount. I mean, $4,000 gold. I started my year off saying that I thought that we would see 3,800 max on gold, and I still got that video up. Now I think 4,000 is an easy call. The really big question that I'm wondering is what is going to happen to silver, though? Where will silver be at the end of this year? I started out the year saying that, honestly, I think we'll see $45 silver by the end of the year. I find it interesting we're not seeing as much solid movements. Everyday gold has been doing just a little bit better as of right now. That doesn't mean it won't change. And the reason I think that it will change is because we are at the end of the financial quarter. Yesterday was the last day of the first financial quarter. A lot of shorts had to cover, and a lot of them had to take losses, essentially. If they borrowed that silver, let's say we'll go back 3 months ago, roughly. Well, I kind of got to go back 6 months and then get to the center point. We go back 3 months ago to, let's see here, where are we at? January, February, and March. So pretty much like the 1st of January. if I'm saying that right, if I'm marking that right. Yeah, December 31st. Okay, we'll call it that way. It's kind of weird the way. Why does it look so weird? Okay, I guess that is, but it just doesn't look like 6 months. I would think we'd be over here somewhere, but the thing I'm looking at is only 3 months ago. Think about that. 3 months ago, we were at $28.80 roughly, $28.70, $28.80. And look at the massive climb that we've seen. A lot of people are going to be left missing out. I've actually talked to some people. I talked to the pawn shops. I talked to individuals. I'm hearing a lot of people selling gold. I find that interesting that individuals, I've talked to probably 4 or 5 people in the last week that are actually selling a little bit of gold for different reasons. And sometimes people don't always want to say the reason they're selling their gold. Some might say remodeling, some might say car work, some might say need cash, a lot of different reasons. And I kind of can't help to wonder if some of these people are just thinking that we're due for a pullback. And maybe we are, but personally, I think the manipulation is finally starting to break through where it's going to get harder and harder for them to manipulate the prices. And a lot of people don't realize that they do manipulate the price on gold. Jumping over real quick before we come back to gold, because we're going to come back to gold and gold fever and what's going on right now. Take a quick look at the Dow Jones today. So the Dow Jones today went up 1%, up 417 points. Nothing major. I mean, that's not that impressive to me. 1% is good, but I mean, after we've fallen as much as we've fallen, I don't really know if it's that good. Taking a quick look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ was interesting. We ended up taking losses on the NASDAQ. Same thing. When you look at the NASDAQ over the last month, down 8.25%. S&P 500 up a tiny little bit, 0.5% or $30. But there again, when you look at it for a month, we're still down almost 6%. Bitcoin making a little bit of ground. Bitcoin showing 82,800, up about $278 or a little over 0.25%. But there again, when you look at Bitcoin, really when you look at Bitcoin over the last, I wish there was way, let's see, I hate to show the next one because I don't want to put the false idea in people's head because we're starting to kind of go sideways and slowly creep down 4% in the last month. As I kind of zoom out further, obviously you're going to see bigger numbers because think about what was happening when the price was climbing. What was going on here? A lot of this was the excitement that Donald Trump was going to start up a new U.S. crypto Bitcoin reserve, and then all of a sudden they see it come down, and then they make some kind of a little announcement or something that, oh, hey, we're going to use Bitcoin, we're going to use Ethereum, we're going to use this, we're going to use that, and then all of a sudden they all pop up, and in the end they don't do nothing. And I don't really think they have any plans of making some Bitcoin reserve. The little bit of Bitcoin reserve that they might have is going to be stuff that they are already holding. They have no intention, stuff that they've gained on raids 5-10 years ago that they're just holding. And why are they holding it? Because, ultimately, really, I don't know why they just don't take the money and buy gold, but I don't know if it's evidence or what, but, it's probably good for the Bitcoin people. I was about to say Bitcoin people. It's probably good for the Bitcoin people that they are holding it, because if they decide to start selling too, that's just going to be another anchor. And ultimately, that's exactly what's kind of driving stuff with the dollar. A lot of people are getting rid of the dollar. I had a long conversation with a foreigner friend. We talked about a lot of what's going on, how countries are essentially de-dollarizing. He thinks the dollar is kind of good to have a lot of dollars on hand still. Keep a good amount of, I guess, a lot of people in the community will call it powder, dry powder, have it on hand. Personally, me, I don't want too much. I don't mind having a certain amount, but I also am not a big fan of debt, which I've been taking a little bit of that on lately, only because I think this is an awesome buying opportunity with precious metals. And what I really see happening is buying it today, and then even by the time the bill comes into me in a month before the first installment comes, I mean, what is silver going to be at in a month from now? What's it going to be at in 2 months from now? What's it going to be at in 6 months when I owe that money and it has to be paid in full in 6 months or else? I did a video the other day about buying on credit, and I know a lot of people are against buying on credit. You know, some people will buy on credit if they're going to pay it off right off, which has always been my strategy: buy on credit and then pay it off when it comes due, and then take the rewards. I mean, some of the stuff that I actually get, oh man, I hate that when this opens. Some of the stuff, as I rub my hand on some of these tabs, they start opening up and stuff. Where was I going with this? Okay. If you're buying on credit and you're going to have the interest payment, I totally understand that. I've always been a fan of buying on credit, but paying it off when it comes due because I like the reward points. I actually watched a video from someone the other day. They said the reward points is a total scam. I would differ. For how many reward points I built up last year and turned that into a couple of tubes of silver, I'm pretty happy that I did it that way. I mean, already this year I've got a nice chunk of reward money. I don't know if I'm going to use it right off this year or if I kind of use it as a little savings account that it sits there unless I get in a bind or something. But at some point I will end up using that and get some more silver probably. Taking a quick look, I want to take a few minutes and talk about, these are all like I showed earlier. I want to talk about this American gold fever real quick, and conspiracy that everybody's talking about, that there's a new conspiracy out there, because we've seen what happens with conspiracies lately. The truth comes out usually within a year. The truth comes out and it's never good. It always finds out that the conspiracy theorist most of the time was right. And as I look through, though, gold fever, gold, a lot of different articles are popping up, a lot of excitement forming around gold. And I really think that's interesting because it's not just here in the United States, it's everywhere. And what I find really interesting, too, is a lot of countries, the silver price has really been on fire. The demand has really been on fire. Not as much here in the United States on silver. We're not seeing it quite as much yet, but I believe it will eventually wake up. The last story that I really want to talk about, though, is this American gold fever. Conspiracy theorists believe more than 400 billion of gold is missing from Fort Knox. I would almost go out on a limb and say a lot more than that is missing. And by missing, I don't necessarily mean that there's nothing there. What I mean by that is there's an IOU there from somebody else. And do they have our gold? That will be the big question. So, what happened, I believe, with a lot of the gold is we loaned it out. We took money, and essentially we used that money on other stuff. When the U.S. really comes back to claim their gold, are we going to have the gold? They made it a point to say President Trump will be visiting Kentucky with Elon to see if the gold is there. Quite frankly, no matter what he says, I don't know if I'm going to believe it. If he comes out and says it's not there or it's missing a lot of it, I'm definitely going to believe that. And I know that sounds crazy to say because it's kind of a little biased, but if he comes back and says it's all there and it looks great and shows us one bar, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to buy that story, because the truth of the matter is gold is really starting to escalate in price, and there's a lot of big buyers out there. A lot of people are buying, and all this gold, you have to wonder where it's all coming from. Has it been all at the LBMA, and that is getting picked bone dry pretty soon? A lot of the silver is starting to disappear. A lot of the gold's disappearing. I believe it's falling into stronger and stronger hands. And I believe when this kind of comes to an end, I think people are going to be severely depressed that they had an opportunity to stack some precious metals, especially if we were to revert back to a gold-backed currency or a silver-backed currency where there's no more easy money. The loans tighten up. Right now, the only reason money is so easy is because they continue to print more of it, because we're on a debt-based system, which means they have to continuously grow the money supply. And as long as they've got to keep continuously growing it, you can expect there'll be more and more money in the system. That will lead to more and more inflation for us, and that will lead to essentially higher and higher prices on everything we buy, including commodities and the building blocks of everything that we use day to day. And that's kind of what's happening right now. That's what gold is. Gold is a commodity. It's a building block. Same with silver. And we're seeing it go up. Now, you do see a certain amount of manipulation, especially when it comes to real valuable commodities like gold and silver. They don't necessarily want to see the price of gold and silver go up, because if the price of gold continues to go up, more and more people are going to start to realize, and they're going to want to put their money into that instead. And if that happens, essentially it's stripping away the gold and silver that's out there, and less people are in the system. Because usually when people buy gold or they buy silver, they're not like trying to trade a coin tomorrow for their groceries. I mean, do I trade coins on a regular basis with people for items? Absolutely. If you got something I need or something I want, like let's say hypothetically I want you to mow my lawn, and maybe you tell me, hey, I want $40 to mow it. And I say, hey, how about I give you this 1 ounce silver coin? And you say, okay. I mean, I saved a little bit of money off that deal. But they're going to take that coin. If they took the $40, they're going to go out and spend it. But if they took the coin, they're going to save it. And the more people save gold and silver, it's true savings. It's like a battery. And a battery that holds your work, it holds your wealth, it holds your energy, it holds your goods and services. And as that happens, it's not paper where they can just print more of it and make it worth less tomorrow. A lot of us have talked about the old silver coin versus a gallon of gas. You take a silver quarter, 50 years ago, and a silver quarter would have bought you a gallon of gas. Fast forward to today, you ain't buying a gas with a quarter, but if you have a silver quarter, you can probably get 2 gallons of gas. And essentially, what we're not even seeing, we're seeing prices go up, but we're not even seeing prices come down, which you would think with technology getting better, you got fracking, that should be making more oil come out of the ground at a faster rate. You've got more technology, better food. You've got, I dislike saying bioengineered food, but with bioengineered seeds and stuff, they're getting more of a crop, more of a harvest. I'm not a big fan of them, only because you can't, once you plant it, you can't take the seeds from that crop to end up growing them again. Whereas if you have regular tomatoes, seeds, and then you grow tomatoes, you can take the guts out of a tomato and put it in a plant pot, and you'll get another tomato tree. And so you can kind of keep the cycle going. But the way we're engineering our stuff, that runs a risk. So I'm not a big fan of those. But you have to understand, because they're using them, they get better crops, they get more food, they get more weight. That leads them to get more, essentially should be making more money. But instead of the price coming down, you're seeing the price continue to rise faster and faster. And the only answer for that is essentially the inflation that we are experiencing, and a lot of people just aren't aware of what's going on. With that being said, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I don't want it to be too long of a video, but I definitely ask that you hit that thumbs up button for me. Leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts. Check out some of these other great videos. Definitely check out the shorts. The shorts are really fun to watch. I try to put one up every day. I'm going to try to get back in the habit of every evening putting a short up. Now, the evening for me is about 2 hours. Well, I'm filming this at 10. The evening that I usually try to put these up at is right around 7, between 7 and 8:30. I try to release one of these, and it's a lot of good information in a small 15-second to 1-minute video. So a lot of good info. So definitely do me a favor. You can actually click on one and then you can just swipe through all of them. Hit them thumbs up. Check them out. A lot of good info. And leave me some comments if you see something that really sparks out at you. It's really interesting when you watch these, because it's good, solid information that a lot of people may not have thought about, right down to using 0% interest money to pick up precious metals, and then by the time it comes due in a year from now, what's that metal going to be worth versus that dollar? And, you know, so it's something I find interesting. A lot of these are just different tips and different coins that I've picked up. Some of them I keep, some of them I trade off, but pretty cool stuff. And then every day I just kind of shoot one, even though the time changes up a little bit. With my morning videos, I put one every morning at 6:02, but it's pretty fun to watch through these. So with that being said, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Oh, and every now and then I throw a lunch one in there, only because I have a thing for surfing crab. 20 bucks. Think of that. $22 altogether for this awesome meal. So it's pretty good. But a lot of good info. Take care, everybody, and I hope you all have a great night. Thank you all for watching. Be sure and hit that thumbs up, and I will see you guys again tomorrow. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.